Welcome to Positive Business Action, the podcast where we explore real strategies, real stories, and real solutions to help you grow a stronger, more profitable business. Each episode, we break down practical ideas that you can actually use, from marketing and guest experience to operations, team culture, and long-term growth. Whether you run a farm, manage an attraction, or just love the business side of making memories for guests, you're in the right place. Let's jump right in. Welcome back to Positive Business Action. Today we are joined with two very special guests from TicketSpice. Eric and Shadi, would you like to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, hey guys, my name's Eric Knopf. I am the co-founder, co-CEO over at TicketSpice, and happy to be here.
And I'm Shadi. I'm the SVP of sales here at TicketSpice, and stoked to be here as well. Eric and I have been friends for like almost 18 years, I want to say. It's been a long time.
Yep.
And
I officiated your wedding. You're just going to leave that detail out?
He also officiated my wedding.
What? And Shadi's still married.
And I'm still married. Good job.
Man.
Say, side note, Hugh officiated one wedding and it lasted 1.5 years. So if you have your choice, always take Eric.
That's amazing. I've been with TicketSpice for a little over 8 years, and it's been a wild journey that I'm super grateful for. But it's been a lot of fun, and yeah, we're stoked to be here. Also, I've known you, Hugh, for I think 6 or 7 years now.
2019.
Yeah, 2019. Yeah, we met at Transworld back when I had a shaved head. And Hugh immediately was like, "This is one of us," and we became friends. And then afterwards, I grew my hair out.
It was a total bait and switch. I couldn't believe it was happening. Bait and switch. That is true. Now, what did each of you do before the TicketSpice adventure? Eric, what'd you do before the TicketSpice adventure?
Yeah, and kind of how the TicketSpice adventure started was I was launching a company that was helping people startups get off the ground. It's called Vision Launches at the time. I graduated from college, went full-time into this business, which is a whole other story with my wife and what it's like to do that. I wouldn't recommend anybody graduate and go full-time in their side hustle, but it was an incredible journey. And at the time, this goes way back. I mean, we're pretty old at this point. We're 17 years into this, but I was launching people's ideas and building them with web technology. It was really the time where web-based software was really taking off. And so my kind of niche was building people's companies as software online. And one of the major pockets we found was home builders. And if you think about today's modern car buying experience, like a Tesla or something like that, you can like go through and customize it and upgrade options and really customize it all online. I was doing that for these spec homes way back when. And on a spec home development, that's where they make all their money. It's on the upgrade can lights and the travertine and the, upgrade to stainless steel appliances. And so they were making all their money. And so we were just crushing it with this niche in home building. And then a little tiny bump in the financial markets in 2008 just wiped out all of the home builders. And so I was in total crisis. I had a line of credit that every single month I was pushing into and lost all of our clients. And, they stiffed us with probably $80,000 in receivables and they all went belly up. And I'm thinking they're going to come back. And so I basically went to a couple of nonprofit customers and like, man, I've got couple of software engineers on staff. What can I build to kind of bridge this gap between when these home builders come back and, can I build anything for these nonprofits? And so they all had wanted a better way to capture recurring donations and better ways to capture donations. And I'm a pretty philanthropic social impact person and was really intrigued by this. And so looked at the market, and every single donation platform at the time required a password to donate. And so I'm like, why, if someone's going to give you money, would you require them to create an account, go to their inbox, click a link, set a hieroglyphic in a password? Why would you do this? And it's like, well, we want them to be able to, change or cancel their recurring giving. And I'm like, why would you want them to do that? So really.
Yeah, immediately stop giving anytime you can.
Totally. So the whole aim was, how fast can you capture a recurring donation? That was the only premise, and make it brandable. And so that was the genesis of it. And it just kicked butt. And there was like no way to stop a recurring donation once it got in. It's like you had to go like log in the database, if you ever wanted to change it, but it was going to run forever. But the nonprofits, it just totally changed how they raised money. And it was so fast and easy. So our co-founder, John, who's amazing, and I wish he was here for this chat too, but I think we were friends and we were working on other things before too. And he kind of was checking in on me because he knew that my consulting business was up in flames and, I'm eating top ramen, watching this line of credit just devour me. And he's just like, hey, how's it going with the home building? He's like, the home building's terrible, but man, I have this little side project that's just kicking butt. And so he took a look at it. We're literally smoking cigars while we're like looking at this. And so he has this whole event background. And so he was very intrigued by it. He's like, man, the way that you donate is not that different than how you buy a ticket. And so that was the genesis. That's what like kind of spurred us like, hey, why don't we create a platform to do events and fundraising? And so we launched it, and the company name behind us is actually WebConnects. And at the time, WebConnects could do anything. If you want to configure the components or widgets like this, it's online giving. If you do it like this, it's ticketing. Like this, it could be registration. And we really set out to build the world's most powerful, flexible payment processing engine that could serve any of these uses. The problem is that people don't buy these kind of jack of all trades. Like no one goes and buys like a bucket of Legos and hopefully they build the Millennium Falcon, right? Like they buy end products, that are designed for these things. So probably about 4 years into our journey, we're like, man, we know we've got some of the best tech. Why don't we take our one platform that's really flexible, really powerful, and give it different brand names and then specialize in features to those end markets? So that's how TicketSpice came out of it. It really is the iteration of this really powerful and flexible, broader platform that then is ticketing specific. And when we did that, man, it just took off. So that was an incredible.
And most people are concerned about where did the spice come from? That's the key. It could have been Ticket Delicious.
It could have been Ticket Delicious. Okay, so
which is a great name. Quick, check GoDaddy real quick, just to make sure.
It could have been Ticket Toenail. It could have been any of these ones, but yes.
Yes, very popular.
We wound up on the name of WebConnects because it was a domain name that I already owned that was rejected from another client that they didn't want to use. And it's like, well, I have this. It's got the word web in it, so let's use that. And the problem is when we did that, is like WebEx? No, that's a totally different company. Connect? No. So we kind of were annoyed about our kind of brand name that just was hard for people to get. And so when we decided to create these different brands within the platform, and again, another conversation over a cigar, this one happened to be in Cabo, John and I decided, hey, let's come with 4 brand names. We need 4 domain names. And so I sat next to a pool with a yellow pad and just came up with things like, I want the word ticket in it, and I want something that people can hear, enunciate, and spell. There's no clever spelling to it. We're not getting cute there. And, I just came up with like a whole bunch of names. And I actually still have that yellow pad little sheet to this day, but came up with a whole bunch of ones. We wanted something simple and people understand. We like spicy food salsa, imagine like a pepper. And so it just kind of like, it felt right for our audience. Like who doesn't love tacos, right? So we liked all those kind of things. So TicketSpice is kind of where it landed, but we still did not escape the people getting confused with the name. So a funny story is when our people call and say, hey, this is, Johnny from TicketSpice. They'll say Chicken Spice. Like it happens like all the time.
No, I definitely want Johnny from Chicken Spice. We want Chicken Spice at all times.
So it's become this thing that we kind of joke about Chicken Spice. We even came out like a sample logo. There are multiple employees that now, to this day, have a Chicken Spice tattoo on their body just from this little joke about our name. So, and
I feel like there need to be more Maize Quest tattoos around here. Why are there not more, fellas? Come on, why are there not more Maize?
If you get Cornelius on your head, I'll get Cornelius somewhere else.
A big labyrinth, a labyrinth or something, all over my head. That would be very recognizable. That is for sure. So Ticket Heidelberg was definitely in the running. It's just with the Germans, you never know if it's I-E-E-I. It's just hard to spell.
I know. And someone who's got an impossibly difficult last name, like my in-laws are like, man, can you buy a vowel with this last name? So I really wanted something that people could have an understanding ideally of how it's spelled and what how to
Yeah.
repeat it,
Ticket Knopf is right out. No one wants
know.
that.
I know.
Silent but really pronounced K's. It's a no.
Exactly. Yep.
That's good. Shadi, where did they find you? They pick you up on the side of the road where you have a stick in a bag and you'd made your way from the Midwest, or what?
No, so Eric and I have known each other for a while. I've been in sales for about 20 years. And I've worked at a few different tech companies. I was in banking before that. Really, I was Eric has something with cigars and whiskey where like he comes up with great ideas and hires incredible employees. So I was actually supposed to meet Eric at the office at the time, and we were gonna go grab a drink and chat and hang out. And he and Ashley, our COO, kind of cornered me in his office and said, "Hey, we want to hire you." They didn't have a plan at the time; they just knew they wanted to hire me. And so we just chatted for a little while. And at the time, it felt like it was the right move, and it was something fun to do with people that I really care about. And, my first day at work, they gave me an Excel spreadsheet with like 300 names on it. They said, "Hey, have at it, buddy." And so from there, we just made a bunch of phone calls and just figured out our footing and which product really we could sell into the most effectively with what we currently had at the time. And so I was trying to sell everything. I was trying to sell our online giving. I was trying to sell our registration. Like ticketing was just more developed for the end user. It was an easier platform to adopt for people. And just we just started getting some traction there, honestly, early. And so I just kept on pressing in where we were winning. From that came me bugging Eric about him developing more products for TicketSpice. And I was bringing in money, and like, so he was like, "Well, I guess I gotta, probably help develop this thing a little bit more." And so it iterated more and more. And, then in 2019, we had COVID, right? 2020. And it was kind of a little sideways at the time for like everything kind of fell off.
Sideways? Oh my gosh. Okay, stop.
It was a blip on the radar, Eric. It was a
Okay,
tiny blip.
so
That's
guys-
like a little bump. It was like a little bam.
Oh my
It
gosh.
was crazy. It was, yeah, you could
Revenue?
probably ask more.
So we have a chart of our revenue during COVID, and we put it on all of our mugs. The revenue went straight to zero, like literally to
To
zero, which is bad enough. Okay, so this is March. It was March 13th of 2020. I remember the day so vividly because it was the day that in California, Gavin Newsom banned all public gatherings. I mean, they vacated the Kings game at in the second quarter, right? So revenue goes to zero, and we had this Slack channel of when events were getting canceled for COVID. And so we would get these little notifications. And inside that, our team would report how big the event was because we make about $1 per ticket sold. And our policy also is that when you refund or cancel a ticket, we give it back because that's the right thing to do. So we make money when you make money. And if you give money back, we give our money back. And we've been always aligned with our customers.
What could
And
go
this
wrong?
was always great, except for a pandemic where all of a sudden, every single ding, this event, 1,000 people, ding, this event, 5,000 people, ding, 15,000. And then we've got this one customer that's 60,000 attendees, saw that come through. And all of a sudden, it's just like, oh man, this is really bad. So revenue goes to zero. And the springtime, March through, like the first quarter of the year is really our slow time. So our cash is already pretty low anyways. And so what we didn't kind of realize for about 3 or 4 more days when we woke up, we're getting like these bank notifications that these draft backs, like all the refunds that are clawing back about 6 months of revenue is happening. And there's like some banking law that they can't, take so much at one time. But we had so many refunds that we actually couldn't fulfill on the daily transfers. And so every day it's hitting these maxes. And so when that all kind of came through, we had like 30 days of survival to us. And John and I, we're bootstrap founders, right? So we had nothing to lean on. And so it was so dire. It was unbelievable. So
it was the craziest of
just this, we have to move into this emergency mode. And so we didn't have any real, positive like backstop to like kind of help us like wander through this. And so we were 40
nobody's
employees
done
at the
this
time.
before, right? Nobody had done this before. No
Totally.
industry had ever done this before. No ticketing
Right.
company had ever done this before. And I can tell
Right.
you, no farm had ever done this before.
So we were like in crisis. And so we went to an advisor of ours and he's like, hey, the kindest thing to do is to cut deep, cut hard, cut now. And so we basically kind of modeled out like we only can survive with like 10 people to kind of limp along. And we had 40 people. And so what do you do? And so we were in this incredible point here. And there's rumors of, maybe there's some payroll subsidy stuff like that's on the horizon. But we just like started calling everybody we knew. I called a couple of our big nonprofit clients and we got some jobs lined up there and we had other people. And so we had this Zoom meeting with the team and we just like wept before them. And we're like, guys, this is uncertain. Like here's the revenue, here's the chart. We showed them the revenue graph. We said, we think we got 30 days to live here. If you can go get a job, go get a job. There might be some short-term assistance here. It's not going to solve that a pandemic. These things last, 3 years.
No one
2 years.
knew. No one knew, right? If it was going to be next week, next month, next year, no one knew.
But our business was effectively outlawed. And so what do we do? And so we said, if you can go get a job, go get a job. You are welcome to stay. We're going to take evasive maneuvers. We still might hit the cliff and die, but you're welcome to stay.
Yeah.
Every single person decided to stay. And so we're like, all right, we're just going to go for it. So we took a very different approach here. And this really goes to the strategy of our team and the knowledge of our industries and our products, where everybody was jumping into virtual events. And we just needed to do it just to provide some short-term cash, because it was one way that certain events could kind of resume. But, at that time, people were like, the future's hybrid and the future's virtual. And we're like, no, absolutely not. So we then like, and so we like jumped and turned a hard left while everybody was taking a hard right. And so it's like somebody here is an idiot and we just hope it's not us. And we went all in on
That's like when I wake up.
So we went and we built 22 different features all around helping in-person events resume. And so that was our strategy. And that's, I think at that time we met you, Hugh. And so this is where we were all focused in on, like we rebuilt DocuSign in a weekend for like the waivers to make sure that properties, if they're going to take people on site, that they could kind of give the attendees some way to waive their liability should they get sick. We also did things like credit cards on file. And like I pledged to buy, take, and attend in 3 months. And if the event goes, great, then mass charge all the cards. We did, and that's just 2 of 20 plus things that we did that were totally unique in our category, but it was the right move. And it was so incredible. And that's kind of where our journey with you. But Shadi was amazing because he's just like connected with you. And then we found, man, this is the way. So yeah,
Shadi did not have an easy time connecting with me.
We had obviously known each other the year before, and we had some stuff. I think Maze Quest was using us already at that point, and then Tyler Butler, I think, called you with Butler's Orchard and asked you, "What do I do?" You said TicketSpice, right? And then they used us, and I remember like looking at their spring event. I was like, "What is this?" It was around spring, right, Eric? Around berries.
Yeah, spring or early summer, because at the same time, all of the farms are shut down, right? Like we can't welcome people in. The farm markets are all closed. We're shoveling dry, stuff into people's trunks. Here's your strawberries. Don't breathe, and off. It's just. I mean, it was crazy. We always laugh. We have a photo, a picture of Google Maps out here in the middle of nowhere near our farm, and we turned 2 miles away. We turned it red on the traffic on Google Maps, right? Because people are trying to get into these, these other events. And I was in the middle of the Sunflower Mastermind group, and of course, it has turned into the how do I apply for PPP loans group, and the where are the local grants group, and the are we going to survive group, and that's what it turned into for us. And then when I remember one critical error that Pennsylvania made, a little different than California, was they based how many people could be together based on the square footage of a Walmart. And they said, okay, only 200 people could be in something the size of a Walmart based on square footage. And the minute I saw that post, I thought, and acres got 42,560 square feet. Let's go. And I told everybody on the Sunflower Mastermind group, I'm like, we're going to be open because square footage requirement, boom.
Mhm.
And then they said, you got to have timed ticketing
Entry.
which literally no farm anywhere had. And that's when Shadi started getting a series of phone calls. That is one of the reasons why we love you guys, but I don't think he was loving me in the moment. Because I remember calling and I'm like, you gotta do time ticketing for these farms and you need to get on a meeting tomorrow. And he's like, okay. And then a week later, I remember calling and saying, yeah, you're like emailing people. You have got to put someone in that office to answer the dang phone or you're losing all of these clients. Boom. And I hung up on him and he texted me back. He's like, let me look into it. and to your credit, you guys said yes. And all of a sudden, like a secret agritourism number was born because that's what needed to happen. Right. And that was like the start of the way out.
There's so many things that we built in that time that was such a short window. We created our onboarding team literally from launching, I think it was like 100 plus farms for the fall. Yeah. So we did the sunflower festivals. We did a whole webinar for all these sunflower festivals. A bunch of them signed up. That was a huge trial for us. And then we did a bunch of stuff, like a couple webinars for Fall Fest, which was massive. And then from there it just took off. We created onboarding and then we were like, well, we've got to eventually keep helping these customers. We created our account management team. So there's so many things that are core to what we
farmers
do
are needy, Shadi. We're needy. We're just needy people. But I love that you understood this guy's got to get on a tractor and fight for his life trying to get his farm through this crazy season, doing stuff that we've never had to do. And you guys understood that. Mm-hmm. And I think answering the dang phone was the key to getting all of those guys up and running, or I don't think it would have happened. I mean, honestly, they wouldn't have figured it out themselves. And then they could have been treated illegally, or mm-hmm. they could have faced a lot of penalties. And I think in all fairness, that's one of the things that really got people through.
And who knows, they might have even completely shut down and then they never reopen after the pandemic was over.
There were farms telling me we're just not going to do it this year. We're just going to not, and because they didn't see a way, right? And that was pretty crazy. That was pretty crazy. What a fun time! That little blip, that little speed bump,
just a little sideways
along the way.
Look, just a little sideways. Yeah. We're so grateful for you. I mean, because it was such a great partnership there. But literally, we probably wouldn't have these two departments had it not been for you at those times. We got great gratitude for you, and you've been such a great partner. And Hugh came out to Sacramento for our listeners here, and we gave him a proper roasting and initiation and celebration when he came in the office. And it was one of the best times ever to be able to celebrate you and your relationship. And we subjected Hugh to everything from games and challenges to a tricycle race around the office. And we had a great time.
Shadi didn't have a chance.
Did you?
He didn't have a chance. I won.
Did you won?
I lit him up.
Every single contest. I don't know.
Too competitive.
It was rigged. I'm telling you.
It was totally rigged. And that's okay if it was. I still feel like I won. And that was great. But that was one of the, and I'd already kind of known just from interacting with you guys, but that was one of the things that I wanted to talk about today. Obviously, you had started with a family business, but now I feel like you guys sort of run a business where it feels like a family. And the one thing that I find in our boot camp, our agritourism manager boot camp, which is setting up your employee systems, right? In an effort to make it possible to onboard 50, 100, employees and get them all moving the same direction. One of the things that captured me about you guys is your ability to just keep that positive culture. And that, and I don't want people to think that positive culture means everybody's happy every single day, right? How do you engender that in what's really a boring software company where you just talk on Zoom meetings all the time and program things with your little keyboards and whatnot? tickety tack, tickety tack. How did you generate that kind of culture that I think anybody who's been at a NAFTA convention would agree TicketSpice is a little different in terms of the people there. How did it start, and now how do you continue it as you guys are growing and many of the farms are growing?
Yeah, thank you for asking. And it's something we're the most proud about out of all we do. The software is awesome. Like we love building the future events. We love helping customers do more, make more, and keep more. All that's true, but really, the really most special thing behind it all is the people. So it probably came into, uh, gosh, a handful of years after we started our journey, where it kind of dawned on us that work is a place that you're going to spend 60% of your adult life. And
Yes.
it has this disproportionate potential to influence your life for positive or for negative. And so the things that will influence your happiness, think of like things are going to, like I woke up last night thinking about work, about this, thing that's going on. And so, work is going to s- rob your sleep, steal your joy. It's going to stress you out. That then also cascades into your marriage, into your kids, into every part of your life. So work is so important. People who say, "Oh, what happened at work is not my problem." Baloney, like people cannot compartmentalize. They are 100% going to bring in their marriage fight that happened last night into the workplace the next morning. It's going to show up in their work. And so we really, I think it started from, if you can make people's lives better, then the organization is going to get better by very nature. So we took this approach of, man, we want people to not only love the work they do, which you can screen for, but we want them to love the people they do it with, because the people they work with is also a huge catalyst for it, right? Like, do
For
you
sure.
have happy thoughts about your coworker, and do you excited to work with them? Or are they passive aggressive, sarcastic, undermining you? Are they just a jerk to work with? So people are now assessing work based on not the work they're doing, but the people they're doing it with. And then if the organization can advance you as a human, man, that combination is just magical. So we do a lot of things to try to look and advance the personal lives of our people. A simple thing is we do a $500 a year counseling credit that any of our employees can use, and they can spend it to advance their marriage, work on the relationship with their in-laws, whatever it is,
Mhm.
develop them personally. We do health reimbursements. We do all these things, but we also then do a lot of connection with our teammates as well, because while we can't fix maybe whatever thing is going on in your life, we can surround you with great people and give space for you to deepen relationships with your coworkers. And so we do staff retreats. We do a summer trip where we take all the staff, we take all their spouses and all their kids. We rent a 737 from Sacramento and we fly them out of country. And we go and we spend 5 days together in a tropical location just to provide for the connection. And so the aspect of community and connection
You
around.
notice John's taking a note there. He's like, take us to tropical
Yes.
location. And he underlined it 3 times. Thanks, Eric.
Yes. So, I mean, and the reason in tech too is that you've got companies like Google, Apple, Facebook. They will pay unlimited sums to basically to keep some other competitor from hiring people. So they will pay whatever they need to pay to acquire people. And being bootstrapped and profitable, like it's impossible to compete with somebody who's willing to win at all costs. So we need to compete on people in a way that is beyond compensation. So we do that based on having great impact in work, doing it with great people. And then also we want your life to be better. Like I want every person to be there for their son or daughter's t-ball or soccer game, your anniversary, leave work early, go buy flowers, like that's what we want, because when your life gets better, the company gets better. So it's been this thing that's been part of our ethos of, helping people's lives advance because of us. And it's super satisfying. And the most common thing is that probably 3 or 4 months after a new hire has joined the team, is I'll get a message probably from a spouse, and they'll just say, "I'm married to a different person now. Thank you for what the company is giving us in terms of the peace in our life, the support. I see joy in my spouse's life. We're working out more, we're eating better, like, and all these things in my life is getting better." And so it really is this whole approach to people that we are really proud of. That's really different, because in tech is overrun by grow at all costs. And when you grow at all costs, Humans are the people who pay that cost. And we just saw last week, 2 weeks ago, Block or Square laid off half of their entire company. Not because of market conditions, not because they're struggling sales, not because of profitability. They said, no, sales is higher than ever, profits higher than ever. We're advancing. They let off half the company because they could. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just this ugly narrative as the background to tech. And we just want to have a company where people go to bed at night and they feel like we're running the business properly well. We're not trying to grow too crazy. We're not trying to look at AI as this great way to lay off all these people. Like we want people to be able to spend a long time in their career here. So yeah, that's how we've really approached it. But
And how do you keep it going though when you're right? I understand what you mean. And it's easy at 5, right? At 5 people, you know everybody, right? In the book Predictable Success, right? You're in that founder mode, you're going crazy.
yep.
And then you're getting just a little bigger and you hit whitewater is what he calls it in that book. And you got to get over that whitewater with your culture intact. So how do you keep expanding and expand that culture so that the people on the edges, the fringes, the new, right? The people who are now, removed maybe 3 things from somebody as great as Shadi in their daily lives. Like, how do you keep it at that scale? Because you are
You
not
have
in,
to,
and people should know you're not all in the office, right? You're not all
no,
in.
half. Yeah, half
Okay.
are in a headquarters, half are out. So you have to fight this battle on who you let in, because the wrong person in has this disproportionate exponential negative impact. One bad person is like 10 bad people or 20 bad people. They can contaminate the entire company so quickly. So you have to fight it on who you let in. And I interview every single person. And there's a period that I said, oh, it's just not reasonable for me to do this, And so we kind of like let off on our standard procedures. Is a huge mistake. So you have to fight the battle on who comes in, and we hire for 3 things: character, culture, and competency. So character, are you a decent human being? And, can you be entrusted with our biggest accounts? Can you be entrusted with being our voice and selling our product and not having to double check your math all the time? Are you an honest person? Culture, how are you with other people? We let other people do the early rounds of hiring because we want you to like work together really well. So culture, are you a winsome person? Do you make people excited to work with you? Are you lifting them up? Are you this Debbie Downer, sarcastic, power hungry person? Competency, can you do the job? So can you do the job is actually last, because it doesn't matter if you are amazing at the job, but you can't be trusted with your customers and no one wants to work with you. It doesn't matter. So character,
Yes.
culture, competency, and we have a 4th kind of silent C, which is consistency. You got to be this all the time. So the levers in which people are brought in are assessed by that. And also how you advance, get promoted are assessed by that, and how you get exited or leave. If you're going to be transitioned out of the company, it's going to be one of those 3 or 4 things. The
Gotcha.
other secret for us too is that we incentivize all of our team to recommend their friends and people that are in their networks.
Yes.
So I knew Shadi on a personal level before I knew him on a professional level. So probably still to this day, we always try to source in people that we know within 1 degree of separation. So I might not know Johnny, but Johnny knows Shadi, and I know Shadi really well. So man, I can trust Johnny, right? So that 1 degree of separation is really powerful. And the other side effect of that too is people are recommending people they like, and they feel also responsible. They're going to recommend a good person.
Right.
So between our criteria and between our ideal 1 degree of separation between everybody, and we will bonus people if they recommend their friends. So we have a financial win for people to recommend their people.
Yes.
That's been our secret sauce. And it's been this really incredible pattern that continues to pay dividends, because people love to work with their friends. And the people who come in, they come into this high powered environment where everybody's happy, everybody's working hard and loves their life, and going home to be with their spouse or their kids, and their life is just better. And so it is this amazing thing that now it's all in protection mode of like, we need to guard against the wrong people getting in. And so we
Right.
spend even more time trying to think about it. But that's how we're able to do it. We're really slow, really diligent and disciplined on hiring. We have a 94% retention rate. The entry level job, gets 50, 75 applicants for it. Hiring is not of our problem. Is not one of our problems we have. We have an oversubscription of people who want to work with us for those reasons.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's fun.
wow.
In the boot camp class, we call that the rebuilding team, right? Which is you get your team to continue and build in, right? It's the easiest, closest, and should be the best referral source. And then we like attaching, and this is even just with teenagers, right? I don't want you to empty out your phone contacts to me, right? You're going to cover their shift if they're not here, right? We want that team. We want that team rebuilding. Yeah, go ahead, Shadi.
I think that, I'm just thinking back even like 6 years ago, when we really started scaling our team. I remember we had a retreat and Eric and John and Ashley were talking about this is who we are, this is our culture. Now you are responsible as well. You are now the new foundation of maintaining this culture. And so I think Eric's just done a really good job at communicating really who we are. And then he's done a really good job at empowering the people that we've hired to be bearers of this culture. And just like Eric's mentioned it, but we've grown so much. Like you don't always have direct working contact with everyone, but if everyone that's managing and leading teams and running after stuff has that same heartbeat, we're going to look to replicate that with everyone we hire. And so I just think we've been so generous as a company with people, not just financially with like, connection credits and things like that, but generous with, I had one of my staff members, she's been going through a lot of personal stuff for the last, month. And just simple things like I sent her a DoorDash and I said, hey, you've been taking care of everyone in your family for the last month. Like, and you're exhausted and actually sick today. Let me take care of you. Use this to go buy some soup or something. And it's like those small things that, it doesn't take more than 5 to 10 minutes to just think about your team or the people you're working with and care about them on a personal level. The way that we do that with things like that, or the way that we welcome people into the company and really truly celebrate them, which Eric, you should share for sure. But the way that we celebrate people when they come in, they realize these people are choosing me and picking me as a person they want to work with because of who I am, and they celebrate and care for me as a person. There's always going to be hard conversations. There's always going to be a misunderstanding. There's going to be friction when you're running fast and hard after, whatever is your role in the company. But those combos become so much easier when you have equity with people. When people know not just Shadi's going to show up for me and support me in my work, but he actually cares for me as a person. That creates a different level of relationship with the team. And, it creates this openness that you want to have.
Well, and I think I don't want people to speed by this or maybe say, oh, that's a tech company. They can do cutesy little things in their fancy little tech offices, all of that kind of stuff. I think the key there is we could all with our team just take a minute, right? We could all just somebody, we just had somebody who had a relative pass away, right? We can just take a minute, get the card, give them a day, right? Any of those kind of things. And you think, well, maybe I'm a farm and we're all tough and we all got to work and the apples are growing and it's not gonna hurt for a day, right?
Yep.
And the like you're saying, now the team feels able to guard and protect the culture themselves and wants to, because they know from the top down that we have been living it, right? We've been taking care of them. Wow, that's some really serious stuff for a little ticketing company, isn't it there? Jeez, it's so serious. So let's get back to hard-hitting fact. No, I wanted to make sure that people got a hold of that positive culture message. And like I say, we're dealing with it in boot camp right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's pretty great.
It's really important on there too I think people need to spend more time asking questions in things like, you can think about reverse engineering those outcomes with questions. For like a simple thing of tell me a time you made a mistake and how you cleaned it up. If someone
Yes.
cannot name a mistake and how they did to clean it up, they probably don't have a whole lot of character. I can tell you what I made a mistake this week, right? So you can get into that. So spending more intentional time, because we look at resumes and ChatGPT can lie really well for anybody's resume, and to take the extra effort to realize, man, this is a human behind the scenes, and they can either advance or they can hinder, or better, in our language, you can be a catalyst or you can be a contaminant. And there's a spectrum, and we kind of isolated and defined kind of 6 placeholders that any given employee can be. And the first one's like a passenger. And like if you can imagine someone like who's rowing, right? So imagine like a big canoe, someone in the middle, they're passenger. They're just there for a job, and that can be fine. And so they're totally neutral. That's totally okay. We don't want a whole lot of just passengers, but sometimes you have to be okay with, hey, this is kind of a thankless job and you don't have a whole lot to offer beyond just want to be there for a job. And that can be okay. The next one is a participant, someone who is, really like, man, I feel like every hour of my life is making a difference here and I want to do more to advance it. And so they're a participant in the values of like serving families and giving delightful experiences. Then there's the protectors, the people who are, hey, I saw that this customer had this interaction and you weren't that nice. And we need you to, make sure you have a smile on your face, like go over the top for them. What are you doing? And they're trying to protect the values of the farm and protect the values of the event.
Right.
Then you've got the pioneer. The pioneer is the person who's ideating, man, what if in the parking lots, we're giving high fives, we're celebrating people. They're taking your values and imagining the future for it and extending it. They've caught your heart and they are advancing with it. That's awesome. So passenger, participant, protector, pioneer. I mean, ideally you are heavy and doing the participant, protector, pioneer. Like those are great things. So that's like the front half of the canoe. And they're all rowing forward, right? And they're doing great. Then you have behind the passenger, the pessimist, undermining everything that you do. Do we really need to do it that way? Does it really matter?
Right.
You've got people who are kind of causing like
Nobody
a drain. They got like
cares.
an oar. They got an oar in the water. It's just creating resistance against everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got the problem
fear.
behind them. And the problem's like rowing the other way. Maybe they're taking money out of the till. Maybe they are creating gossip and backbiting and Hugh doesn't know what he's doing here, So you have these kind of 6 stages and we just have no tolerance for the pessimist and the problem. And until we have language to understand we're all rowing in this one direction and we need to have people be at the front of the boat and pushing us forward in the right ways, it will catch you. And so you need to be able to eliminate the people who are the pessimists and the problems and find more of those participants, protectors, pioneers.
Yes. That was an easy connection of the 17 P's of personal placement priority. Yes.
I know. We got a lot of them.
Yeah. Well,
we love acronyms.
On the other side of all of this stuff is how we actually, and you kind of alluded to it very, very briefly, but how you show up for the customer, right? So when you talked about at NAFTMA, the rock, the spice, like that's our culture, yes, but we then are empowered to go do that with our customers. Like we have that same heartbeat for them, and even the non-customers. Like we want to care for people as real people and create.
Yeah, I didn't see anybody get kicked out.
Some of them were our customers. I'm kidding, but no, we actually. I think that's so important. Is like when you can be soft and kind with people, strong on your business initiatives, but soft, kind, caring with people, and actually see them as people. Like it floods into the people that you work with, but then also your customers. So.
And we'll be right back.
This episode is sponsored by the Super Mega Ride and Slide. Guests go down, profits go up. If you're looking to create an unforgettable experience that keeps people coming back and drives serious revenue while you're at it, this might be exactly what your business needs. For more information, go to supermegarideandslide.com. And now back to the show. This episode is sponsored by the Hen House Hustle. And trust me, it's exactly what your guests are looking for. Fun, memorable, and built to keep people coming back. Learn more at thehenhousehustle.com. And now back to the show. Today's episode is brought to you by Maize Quest's Maize Catalog, helping farms create unforgettable corn mazes and stronger agritourism businesses. Join the funnest group of farmers in the world at maizecatalog.com. And now back to the show.
Welcome back.
to positive business action, Hugh?
Well, we want to talk about, you guys see a lot of different industries than we do. And I know it's just, we get so focused on our farms and the events that we're holding here. I would love for you to kind of just take the broader, fly us out at 30,000 feet and take a look at the event industry and what's moving, what's shaking, what's happening, what's being successful. I mean, you guys are literally seeing ticket sale numbers. What kind of cool stuff is going out there that we can cross-pollinate?
I think I can take the first crack and love to hear Shadi, but events are experiential and we spend so much time in screens, on Zooms and wherever. And so there's this move where people want to experience in-person memories and build relationships and experiences outside of screens. And so events are really growing because people have that screen and digital fatigue. I would say from a software perspective, the biggest trends we are seeing is that people want to spend more for better and greater experiences. They want to build more memories, and there's a lot of options out there, right? There are a lot of Christmas experiences, there are a lot of pumpkin patches, there's a lot of sports events. And so we are experiential. And so when someone's looking at a given event, they're also trading options in their mind for other things they could do. And so I think a big move that we're seeing is people biasing towards new experiences and what's going to enhance the experience. What's the bigger memory building? If they have kids, what's going to be amazing for that? So we're seeing that, and how that parlays into the ticket experience is, one, offering more things that people want to pay more money for. But two is really where people can enhance and buy additional upgrades into the experience. And so, yes, maybe the bargain hunters just want what's the cheapest I can get in the gate, and I'm just going to walk around. I'm going to see the scenery. That's fine. There are so many other things, whether it's from food and beverage and merchandise and unlimited passes and unlimited slides. By the way, I still don't own a mega slide yet, which is on my wish list here, Hugh. But
It's coming.
These are things that people are considering and they want to do. And that's where our software really, we've biased towards making these enhanced experiences as part of the purchasing experience to be really easy, because one, it's going to distinguish a given event from another one. And two, it's going to give people what they want, which is they want to have a better experience. They're willing to pay for it, especially if it's something that is going to give them greater and bigger memories with loved ones.
Yeah, I love that they're willing to pay more for something that's better. Eric, I know you have a hard stop here. I just want to thank you so much for giving the time here and sharing particularly about building culture. That is really, I think, a message people, positive people like you and me are out there preaching. There's another P for you. And we just really appreciate it. So thanks for the time. And we're going to continue here. We're going to browbeat Shadi for a while, if that's okay with you.
Perfect. Please do. He's amazing, and really are so thankful for you guys and the partnership, and great to be able to share our story with you guys. And we are so appreciative of you.
All right. Thanks a bunch, buddy.
Thank you.
We'll see you.
Sure.
So Shadi, I want to keep going on these VIP. What it sounds like to me, maybe John has some questions here too. I love this idea of maybe this isn't the year to be scared, to do something more that's going to give you another layer. Like, where have you seen, you've been inside a ton of these accounts getting people set up. What kind of things are going well? Maybe it's not festivals and haunts and farms. Maybe it's balloons. Maybe it's, just whatever. Art experiences. I know those are going crazy. Art and light things that happen for a brief time. Give it some things that are working out there.
Yeah, I think one thing that I'm seeing is that Eric actually absolutely hit on the head. Like, the bargain shoppers are going to be there, but the people that are your VIPs are the ones that want to spend. We're seeing actually a pretty good increase in what they're paying for these VIP experiences. So you don't know unless you ask, right? And so one of the things that we've seen become really popular is this idea of suggestive selling to certain audiences that have come to your attraction or your event historically. So one thing that even like yesterday was talking to a farm in the Northeast that has a agritourism attraction. They also have a haunt. And we were on the phone, we were talking about their tickets and the different packages they do. And they said, yeah, we let them add the haunt when they're here if they want. It's all GA. So it was a super easy upsell. I said, why don't you offer it online? And they wanted to keep their ticketing really simple, which I agree. You have to keep it simple, because when things are clear and quick to transact, if they have their card out, they're ready to give you money, like Eric said, you don't want to give them a password or add more friction or have an unbranded experience that doesn't look like you. You want to be really clean and quick, but you also might want to suggest to upsell. So one thing that we're going to do for this farm is once you add the GA ticket, we're just going to have a quick little pop-up that says, do you want to add the haunt? If you just click yes, it's going to add those haunt tickets or that different package. It's going to automatically swap out your 4 tickets for the GA for the 4 with the all-inclusive. So like really simple things that can upgrade someone. If they buy, a mid-tier package, you might want to suggestively sell the higher package. It was about a year plus ago where I was looking at all the things that we were building and I was like, this is really us thinking about the end-to-end experience of the customer. And, to the point of like immersive experience. And when people are on site, they want to have the best experience possible. That's where we really want to engage that customer before they come. We want to obviously remarket them like crazy. There's a lot that we're doing now with AI and advertising directly from the platform to TikTok to Meta, and you leveraging your past data to go do that. So there's a lot of things to engage people, convert them quickly, get them to spend more money when they're buying. But then on site, we want to then go target them again. So if you bought a GA ticket, I might have a certain journey of messages I'm sending you. Welcome to the farm. Here's the map. Hey, did you know that lemonades today are, $2 off? And now they're buying lemonades. And then if they bought a GA ticket, hey, did you know that you could go upgrade to a season pass? Click here or go visit Hugh in, the corner where they sticked him. And I'm kidding.
Yes.
Right?
It
So
had
like
barn. It's small.
all of these things. Hey, how was your experience today? It was awesome. Please give us a Google review. It was terrible. The weather. Why didn't you change the weather for me? And then, hey, tell us more why, right? So that's how we think about that piece. And then also just then engaging the next group of folks. So how can you create, an elevated experience across what you offer? And then how do you keep your customers coming back time and time again? So our job is to help you tell your story to your customer in the most effective way possible, the most personalized way possible. You have tens of thousands of people coming to your attraction. How do you create a personalized experience for all these people, right? And so that's kind of how we think about technology and how it supports you deliver what you want for your customer.
And building on the technology, you mentioned like social media and stuff, but what role does like email marketing and text messaging play in filling the seats or bringing more people to the attraction?
Yeah, that's a big part of it. I think doing that really well is something that a lot of folks don't do. It's incredible how many folks we talk to that are coming over to us now that just don't have a real solid plan for that. The likelihood that a customer comes back the year after they came, 60%. So if 100 people came to your farm last year, 60 of them come back this year. Remarketing your customers through those platforms is the cheapest and highest value activity you can do when it comes to marketing. And so there's a handful of things, emailing them until they transact, having the buyer experience match what they previously bought. So if you bought a season pass last year, my emails are going to say, as a season pass holder, buy by this time to get this thing. The ticket page can dynamically change to offer him those things, feels personalized, causes me to go transact. It's why baseball stadiums still do like service member nights and those kinds of things. They want people to raise their hand and say, hey, I identify as that. I probably should go buy a ticket, right? So those are the types of things that we really want to integrate all the way through. The more that you can do that, the more it feels like, oh, this attraction's for me. I need to go to this thing. So that's kind of how we think about it.
And could you just explain a little bit too about how real-time reporting and analytics also help the businesses? Because you have all the back end where you're looking for next year, all the people who came in. But what about real time? Like this week we had
This
these
weekend.
people.
Mhm.
What about tomorrow?
Right.
Yeah, that's huge. Part of it is we have an analytics dashboard that shows you all that. You can see all your bookings, you can see all the ticket sales scan, you can see your sales real time, your average transactions email, you can see your conversion rates. Like it's really simplified KPIs that make sense to any business to run. So those are the things that we really want to put in front of our customer. Then we want to get strategic with people because we know that, Hugh, you mentioned, hey, I'm on the tractor right now. I'm busy. I have a million things to do. And sometimes people don't have the bandwidth to go look at that. They're not proactively thinking about, their trends, how they're doing this year versus last year, who's bought this year versus last year. So having systems to automatically do that marketing for you, and then also having a person like a Shadi or a Michelle or a Seth go and say, hey, Hugh, I'm seeing this trend in what you're doing right now. Did you know that this is what's happening with your sales this year versus last year? Let's think about doing X, Y, or Z. So that's kind of, I think, part of the secret sauce is that, especially in our business, like a lot of these ticketing companies, they just take it and make it a race to the bottom. Who can provide the cheapest thing, right? And I'm like, you could sell a ticket through your website for all, like you could, and that costs you nothing, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like you want to work with someone that is going to help you strategically think about things, but then also have tools that can drive increase in AOV, average order value, increase in conversion, the ability to go remarket to people, the ability to help you go upsell on site, thinking through how do you reduce labor through a kiosk potentially, or reduce labor through like different access control tools. Like someone that's actually thinking about those things, you'd pay $4 a ticket if you knew that you were going to get an extra $10 in revenue, right? So that's where like sometimes like it's like that telltale, that old tale of like, penny wise, pound foolish, right? Like you want to have the cheapest solution because you get cheaper outcomes. You want to have a good, strong solution that's driving the right outcomes for the business.
So that, I think, leads us right into what do you think the top 3 or 4 monies left on the table? It's like when we sign somebody up or that they start using our service to, maybe they never did tickets, maybe they were using a different ticket provider. But what are the top 4 things you just boot up and you go, oh my gosh, like we just need to bang, bang, bang. What are the big left money on the tables that people right now could take away, whether they use you guys or not, could just take away?
I think the first one is like you have data everywhere. So when we bring someone on for the first time, we're like, hey, grab every email you've ever had, every phone number that's opted into a message for text message. And if you can give me one piece of information about who that person is, what they bought, when they came, I'm going to upload them all into our system and tag them. And then I want to think through how we can go market to them through our platform, right? You might still use your MailChimp or your constant contact, but when you want to drive sales, you should be thinking about driving it through the platform. So every single piece of, you customer that you have, you probably want to think about that data. The second is probably your upselling. So the packaging and upselling. So think about what you can offer. I think there's so many people that even now, like there are more things that you can sell to your customer. I've talked to so many attractions that have said, we only have these few things that we can offer. I'm like, no way, you can offer more than that, right? Like
Yeah.
Hugh's a advocate of this too. But even like selling flexibility, like an any day ticket versus a date-based ticket, it costs more to have flexibility. And then you have your season pass, right? So you can sell so many things. You can package things. You just got to think about, what you offer people. When people are at your attraction or your event, what are all the things that they can possibly do? And then like layer on things like flexibility, layer on things like VIP, early access. Think about how you give those people that have been loyalists certain offers earlier than other people to drive them to come back. So there's more that people offer than they realize. I would say that's a big unlock. Just to sit there and just write down, what do people get when they come to my attraction? You'd be surprised with what you come up with. So that the upselling is a big unlock. And then how am I communicating to people when they're on site? So when they're here, everyone's gotten text messages. We've all probably looked at our phone.
And by here, just so everybody understands, it's like after they after they have scanned their ticket and arrived, they've arrived, right? And then
even prior, you could say, hey, let me go text them. If it's a time-based or date-based, maybe I'll text or email them the day before. Say, hey, we're excited to see you at the farm. If they bought a date-based or time-based solution, right? Once they scan, though, we know that's happened. And then I want to create this whole on-site experience. So we've all, like 98% of people look at their cell phones and their text messages within 3 minutes of getting it. And so people are going to look at their phone. The thing with text messages that's different than email is when they look at it, it has to be a really very tight window timed call to action. So it has to be something they're going to execute on right then and there, because they're not going to go back to that text message ever again. Email only, right? And so that's where like you want to have very in the moment things. Hey, welcome to the farm. Here's the map. Hey, thanks so much for being a valued season pass holder. Just a reminder, you get 15% off on food and beverage. And then also, maybe next week message them again and say, hey, weekend's coming up. Remember, you get free access and 15% off when you're done with, running errands on Saturday. Come to the farm and buy, some food. So those are the things that I think really like the on-site piece. And then afterwards, making sure the last thing, the biggest unlock is like after they leave your farm or after they leave your event, you have to have a plan for what you do with those people next. It's not like, and this is everyone like, when you're exhausted and done with the season, you don't want to be thinking about anything else probably. You're like, give me a break. But if you can think in advance of like, what would I want to ideally communicate to people after they visit within 2 weeks of our wrapping up season, within a month, 2 months. Hey, thanks so much for coming, being a part. I just want to thank you again. Like, those are the types of messages that people get, and they maybe like glance over it so quickly and then don't respond to something, but you want to keep them thinking about your farm or your attraction and do a couple messages. And then when it's time to start selling tickets for the next thing, you want to begin moving on.
Right. It just reminds them, it's a continuous reminder of, oh, wait, this place does exist and we can go back.
That's right. And we enjoyed it, right? You're rekindling the enjoyment.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. Photos all over everything, right? So on your ticket page, right? Like they're not going to read text. They want to visualize experiences of what am I going to get. So same with, when you send that reminder or that end of season email, that big thank you, pictures of happy families, that's what they want to see. And so I would just emphasize that piece as well as you're thinking about this.
So that's some great stories. Now we are going to wrap up. Thanks so much. We've taken a little more than our hour here, but I think it was worth it. We're going to wrap up. John has some rapid fire questions for Shadi here around all things silly and rapid fire. Go.
All right. So what is the favorite event that you have ever attended in your life?
And you can't say your wedding.
And it's at Maze Quest.
My wife and I, this is the only one that comes to mind. So it might be the favorite one. We went to, probably 3 or 4 years ago, we went to this Beach Life Festival. We bought the VIP and we just had a whole weekend, just me and her. We had just had our first kid and we listened to a bunch of music, had this awesome VIP experience, and it was incredible.
Yes, the VIP lived up to it. That's good. All right, best concert you've ever seen live?
It was probably that one, the Beach Life Festival.
Was that one still? Nice.
All right, coffee or energy drinks when you're deep in work mode?
Coffee all day long.
Let's go. Let's go. All right, are you an early bird ticket sale buyer, or are you the last minute, I didn't plan this, we're going?
Ooh, I'm a last minute person. Be an early bird. I got 2 kids now. It's hard to plan a week in advance at this point.
All right. And then what's your biggest pet peeve when you're attending an event?
Ooh, when things aren't organized and you can tell if they're not organized, you don't feel confident in the experience you're about to have.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Well, that is super fun. So Shadi, please thank Eric again for joining us. I know he had to run. That's totally fine. We're all trying to run businesses here. That is for sure. Thanks for all of your time and for tricking me in 2019. I feel like we did a lot of good for a lot of farms and then eventually, you think about it, it was really millions of people who were trapped in their houses until somehow we figured out how to get them out to the farm and farms using ticketing systems, which is like pulling teeth. I mean, it was that was a pretty fun and enjoyable event. But I like where we're going now, which is dreaming up these packages for our clients and making sure. I know we're both on the same path of making sure people just feel confident to give it a try. Try coming up with some silly VIP thing for your farm. Just give it a try. I mean, who cares, right? Just give it a shot.
Here's something I've been telling my teams to that effect is perfect is the enemy of done. You're never going to get whatever you want to put out there. You're never going to get perfect. If you wait till it's perfect, you're never going to get it done. So like my encouragement is let's be bold and just try some things, people.
Yes. Yes. Oh my goodness. All righty. Well, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you very much. That's a wrap
Thanks,
for
guys.
Positive Business Action. We will see you next time.
We'll see you.
Thanks for listening to Positive Business Action. If this episode gave you a useful idea, take a second to follow the show, leave a quick rating, or share it with someone who could use it too. That's what helps this show reach more people who are building something meaningful. You can find links to full episodes, resources, and ways to connect with us in the show notes. Until next time, keep moving forward, keep improving, and keep taking positive business actions.